So there's a ton of benefits to using drum breaks or drum loops as opposed to using one-shot drum samples. And there's a few different ways we can think about using drum breaks. One of which is chopping it up into individual samples and making our own drum kits that we can customize and add our own effects to. Another way is to chop it up and rearrange it into your own patterns. Okay, so we got a break here. And the first thing I like to do, just to be safe, is to copy and paste it down here. Let's open this up and take a look. Okay, so on the hardware, we're in the sampling tab. You hit sampling, and being that we already have a loop, we're not recording anything, we're just going straight to edit. And what I always like to do is check and make sure that it understands the BPM of my break or my loop. And it's very helpful if you already understand what BPM it is. And if you need help figuring out the BPM of a loop, leave a comment below and I'll be happy to make a tutorial for you. So over here on the right side, go back one tab to stretch. And I always like to look here at settings and see what BPM it thinks the loop is. It's calling it 84, which is perfect. We're going to not do anything with that. Sometimes you'll know that it's 84 and it will call it something that's slightly off because it may have a tail at the end of it. In other words, a perfect 4-bar loop or 8-bar loop, whatever it is, will have an extra little bit at the end. And so just knowing your BPM is a helpful place to start. Now, we're going to head to the next tab over here to slice. There's lots of different things that you may want to do. There's lots of ways to slice it. Manual, you just hit the pad as it plays and you slice it up to the groove. Grid is going to chop it up by parts of the grid. Right here is doing it by 4ths. You can get twice as many splits if you do it by 8ths. And you can also do 16ths. Let's see what this sounds like. Okay, so it's not doing individual drum hits, it's just splitting it up into sections of the beat. And if you have a very loose drum break, you may need to actually go in and adjust the start and end points. Split is pretty much the same thing, there's really not much difference. And if you want to make a drum kit, you can try doing detect. And the key with using detect is to mess around with the sensitivity until it picks up on all the hits. And that's getting most of the major hits there. It's not picking up on most of the hi-hats, which are going to be the little guys typically, but it's getting most of the big kicks and snares. Let's see what this sounds like. And this is a nice way to make a kit right here because, say, this kick right here, it has the hi-hat after it. So it has one and the hi-hat is the and. And that one has the same thing, but it's a different texture, especially on that hi-hat. Okay, from here, if we want to make this into a kit, what we do is we hit apply, and instead of applying it to a pad like it's suggesting here, what I like to do is apply it to a group. So we're going to create a new group by hitting this blank one here, E. And when it's blinking, you can go ahead and hit OK, and it's going to put it across the pads. Okay, so that's your basic way of making a drum kit out of a drum break. But let's discuss chopping up and rearranging a drum break. Okay, so let's head back over to our original group, which is group B. And we are going to real quick head over to this screen over here. So let's go to the edit page. And we're not going to truncate. We're going to time stretch this to meet our BPM. If you look over here, our BPM for the project is 74. And if you remember, the BPM for this drum break is 84. So we're going to one click down from truncate, go to stretch and settings, and it already knows what to do. Now, when you're stretching, you can go ahead and tune it if you want to, but that's up to you. And you can experiment with the format, either on or off. And I'm going to try putting it on for now and see how that goes. And then we're going to hit apply. Let's see what that sounds like real quick. One thing I want to caution you about is slowing down the BPM of a drum break too much. You will get a lot of digital artifacts and kind of distortion and weird things going on that you don't necessarily want. No bueno there, but I think we're okay. I want to go much past this kind of stretch that we did here. Now, if you're going faster, it's no problem. It's going to sound real nice and tight and clean, making it faster. It's whenever you're slowing it down that it can become an issue. So now we're going to head back over to the slice tab. You can either go with grid or split. It's totally up to you. I think I want to double this here so I can fill up all 16 pads. And then we're going to apply. And once again, we're going to send it to a new group and hit OK. Now, while we're in the new group, we're going to go ahead and create a new pattern. And I think that was a 2-bar loop, so let's just make it 2 for now. If we can make this have 16 positions, which it only has 8 right now, so we're gonna half this. If we did a pattern kind of like this, it should play the beat back exactly how we chopped it. The great thing about doing this is now we can experiment with some of the chops, just moving them around and finding out what we want our beat to actually sound like. Okay, here's a basic rearrangement of the break. And the possibilities are really endless. But some of the possibilities that we can start messing with are things like EQing the individual pads and adding effects that we like to our discretion. Okay, so I added some effects and some EQ to some of the pads, and I rearranged the chops in a different pattern, just real quick, and this is what we came up with. Anyhow, I hope that this video helps you get going with your pursuit of using drum breaks or drum loops, and that it gives you some creative ideas as far as what you can do with them. And until I talk to you next time, remember to treat all your people really well, because life is short. Have a good one. Okay, so that's your basic way of making a drum kit. Son of a bitch.